So we're here for celebration. Texas Workforce Commission has a lot of, think about it, I think it's a useful enterprise to look at the resources that TWC has for the people of the state of Texas, kind of an arsenal of weaponry. And today we celebrated one of those weapons, one of those bullets was a JET grant, which directly impacts school districts and young people because it provides equipment that are appropriate for the demands, the demand occupations that are in our region. It's a really important event.
And quite a few school districts were lucky enough to receive those awards.
Part of the dynamic of a JET grant is that individual school districts or entities that are eligible to apply for those grants, they have to take on their own volition. They have to take up the initiative to actually apply for the grant. So kudos to them, to all the school districts across the valley that were successful and took the initiative and had the drive and the ambition to get these grants. Kudos to them and their teams.
In your group, what role do you play?
So we're supportive. And we're Switzerland in that sense, but we, any school district, any public entity that goes out there and applies for these sorely needed funds, in whatever manner we support their initiative, their efforts. So whether it be supplying them with labor market information or just best practices, anything that they need to make their journey through this jet journey, we're there to support them.
And outside of today, moving on from today's big announcement and the checks being presented by Commissioner Trevino, how is your group doing generally? I mean, you've been there for a year or at least now, settled in well. What does your work involve?
I don't know about settled in well. It is a fast-moving train. And, we wake up every morning knowing that there are three clients. Job seeker, the individual that is employed but needs to be upskilled or desires to be upskilled, and then the industrial complex. So those are our three customers, really. So we wake up every single morning and make sure that the needs of those three groups are met. And we do that all under of course, under the watchful funding out of the TWC. But we do that with support for individuals who need childcare. Because as you know, it is really expensive to provide childcare. And if that's an impediment to an individual going out into the workforce, then that's where we step in. So short answer to your question is it never stops. And, great deal of, in my eyes, gratitude to the team. We have 33 at our headquarters staff, another 100 plus 120 at our workforce centers in Harlingen and Brownsville. And I know my colleague Frank Almaraz at Lower Rio would certainly echo the sentiment that a great deal of gratitude is deserving of the people who do that work every single day.
I could only imagine that in your part of the valley, it's very busy because of all the economic development that's happening at the Port of Brownsville, with the LNG, with SpaceX, other companies now being attracted to the lower valley because of those big mega projects. Keeps you busy in trying to make sure we have the workforce for those jobs.
It's kind of an R&D part of our journey. Because the companies of that size, not just Cameron County, the Valley, but the state has never seen this kind of investment and the character of this kind of industry. So all of a sudden, 10 years ago, we kind of went into a different direction in space and now liquid natural gas. And so we're watching carefully and monitoring what kind of impact, because that's never been seen before, does that kind of massive investment in corporate America mean to the people, to the workforce of the Valley? What are the consequences of that? So we're discovering those things. There's questions that are unanswered. What kind of pressure does that have on the workforce? Of course it does, because presumably those companies are going to try like crazy to get individuals from our region, but they have to cast a wider net. So, and the workers that do come from this region, what happens to that part of the industrial complex that we have a responsibility to help as well? So we're constantly assessing that. And so, again, like what happened today was reflective of the people have to be really aggressive about going out there and finding those resources from the state of Texas, from TWC, to help support. So it as cliche as it sounds, the collaboration and the that we have to have with the school districts, with the community colleges, with all of our partners has to be robust and alive and in good stead, good health.
So we covered an event the other day last week with the port director, William Dietrich. And he was very excited at the percentage of the workers that Bechtel has been hiring for the LNG, just how many of them are coming from the valley. They are required to hit a certain percentage, but they're way above that. So the valley's producing the workers they need.
Again, that's what we had to discover. And that whole thing came right before I was around. But I know, we watch that. We partner with Bechtel to the extent that they want us to. And already it's a beautiful partnership and relationship. So we're watching that. Again, what I said earlier is that we have to see what is the capacity of the valley to provide support and make those companies successful. So from a workforce perspective, they have to be wildly successful. And to be wildly successful, they have to have the skilled workers. They have to have in a sustained way. So that the other part of the pressure that the region feels is that the pressure on our training partners to provide those skills if they don't have them already. And so far, our partners have performed tremendously well. So we're proud of that.
My last question, I've always wondered, and I should have done the research perhaps, but to go to your website, do you put a lot of data on there? For example, is that a portal where people can see what sort of jobs are available in your region?
Yeah, so there's a connection to and a link to our platform is called Work in Texas. So an individual comes in, signs up, and then we immediately connect them with the needs of the local industry. So on top of that, there's labor market information that shows, for example, there's 431,000 people that live in Cameron County. Of those, 170,000 are gainfully employed in the workforce. And of those, they're in 20 different industries. 30% of the industrial complex in Cameron County right now is in healthcare. So the second largest part is retail environment, and so on and so forth. So that you're asking me a very good question, because it really is, that labor market information is so important, not only for the individual who's seeking employment, but for policymakers, board members who are entrusted with the public's funds, and they have to figure out, where are we going to invest? How are we going to invest that allocation from the monies that we get from the taxpayer? So they want to make informed decisions. So all that information is on our website. Not to mention the fact that our team is always there to help as well.
And the jobs that are listed there, all from people that work with their hands to sort of management positions, everything's in there.
It's comprehensive in that sense. And we work, think about, the individual who's taken the university path and graduated with a 4-year degree. So there's a lane, right, that the university is, and we're right next to that. So there's a little grain of that, and we're happy to play that role. Universities often have placement centers to help their students who graduated, to place them in an appropriate industry. But there's a crossover there, and we're happy to cater to the needs of the individual who's looking for a 6-month certification, or somebody who's a degreed person who's interested in finding out about what opportunities are for them.
Those are all the questions I had, Rafael. Is there anything else you're working on, anything else you'd like to add?
No, other than I appreciate the time and appreciate whatever we can do to help you. We're here to be of service to the people of the region, and you're part of the industrial complex. So whatever we can do to help you make your industry and your job and your better, that's why we're here.
Thank you so much for today's interview.